Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. So, today I decided to discuss cancel culture. Cancel culture is basically, as defined by Merriam-Webster, has to do with removing your support for a public figure due to their behaviors or opinion. Generally, it also includes publicly denouncing the individual being canceled. Usually, it has to do with public figures, like I said, and the cancel culture really started in circa 2016, and it has gained notoriety and fame throughout the years until today. So, cancel culture is usually focused in Twitter. That's where we most find it, Twitter and YouTube. And it usually gains its momentum through hashtags. So, for example, recently, a YouTuber by the name of Shallon Lester was getting some fire, and some people decided to create the hashtag Shallon Lester is over party. So that's usually how people try to quote unquote cancel someone. So in general, there are two types of cancel culture. The first one is a more serious one. It was really pushed forward by the hashtag MeToo movement, and honestly, it can be a little heavy for my taste. So I'll stick to the more lighthearted side, quote unquote lighthearted side, which is more connected to online directly. It's influencers who are online. So how the process usually goes is in a little bit more detail is someone says something racist, transphobic, sexist, etc., and a public figure, usually they post it online. So then the individual is blasted online, and that attracts media outlets. And I'm not talking like specifically CNN, although we did see that happen, for example, in the James Charles drama. Sometimes it's just drama channels on YouTube who sort of feed off of that information, and they make it more popular. After that, people will catch up and it will sort of gain momentum on YouTube. The hashtag will go on trending, and then everyone will be caught on, and people usually decide to no longer support this person. Now, this type of more lighthearted cancel culture is involved a lot in drama. The examples I can give are recently, like I said, James Charles. Also, there was the Demi Lovato drama that happened recently. Now, I'm not interested in the drama. I'm more interested in analyzing the psychology behind the whole movement. Now, some of my theories are going to include automatic processing, groupthink or mob mentality, and confirmation bias, with a little side theory that I'm not going to specifically talk about in this video just because it's just a small little theory. If you want to read about it, you can read about it on the link that I'm going to link down in the description below. Okay, so let's start. So automatic processing happens when someone is sort of going in autopilot mode. So what happens is it's usually found in our daily lives. For example, when we're driving or when we're riding a bike, you're not really thinking about when you ride a bike. Like, you're not thinking, okay, I have to move this foot here, this foot there. It just kind of happens. That's automatic processing. Your behavior is just going on without you really making a conscious decision to do that behavior. You might do the conscious decision to do that behavior at the very beginning when you're learning it, but then later on, you tend to just go into automatic processing and you kind of zone out. And that's why a lot of the times, if you're biking or riding or driving, you will most probably zone out and then wonder how you didn't crash your car. So how automatic processing comes into play is when people see a trending hashtag on Twitter, they sort of just trust it instead of doing more background research and looking more in depth on the topic. They automatically assume that that person did something horrible. They don't really ask questions. They're just more jumping on the bandwagon. And we saw this very clearly in the James Charles drama, because everyone jumped on it. They just sort of jumped on the bandwagon. They didn't ask a lot of questions. And actually, what was funny is a lot of people were exposed for having bad pasts and having tweeted bad things in their own Twitter feed, but they were sort of crucifying him for doing the same thing. And that is what automatic processing is. It's just doing something in a zombie-like state. And that is very dangerous because, again, people turn into zombies. They just do whatever they're told, or whatever information they receive, they kind of just take it and then regurgitate it. And that is on the side of, instead of staying alert and becoming independent and forming their own opinions, they just trust other people. Now, moving into groupthink. Groupthink takes place when people become focused on group cohesiveness, where other opinions are no longer an option. So, groupthink is basically what happens when you're in a group and the whole group sort of agrees on one thing and they don't really have any other opinions other than that one thing they agreed on. This takes place when people are really focused on sort of keeping the whole group in like a peaceful state. No one wants to speak up, no one wants to say anything controversial, and that can be, sometimes it can be good, but it's such a monumental force in cancel culture, because once someone is accused of something, it turns into a snowball effect and no one can stop it. And if you do stand up to it, you can yourself be a target for these people. This usually takes place in phase 2 of the process, where the media outlets start releasing these information and these videos and whatever, and you really can't stop it. Even if you are telling them like, hey, can you guys stop, like, relax for 1 second, let's think about this, no one will really listen to you, because everyone's kind of, it's a snowball, they're just gonna squish you. Once these influential platforms put something out there and people trust it and people all move in the same direction, this can be considered mob mentality, where people begin to behave in a certain way because of their peers and their surroundings, rather than using logic and rational thinking. It can also be called like jumping on the bandwagon in normal words. So mob mentality, as you can see in, for example, the James Charles drama, is such a dangerous thing, because you're not asking questions, you're not fact checking, you're just taking whatever everyone else is saying, and you're just taking it as facts. And that's really bad. And when everyone is sort of falling on you like that, it can be really detrimental to your health, your mental health. So the third theory that I have is confirmation bias. So confirmation bias is the tendency to search for and weigh information that confirms one's preconceived conceptions more heavily than the information that goes against them. Usually this happens when people, for example, find out controversial topics on the internet. They might look into the information, but instead of putting neutral words, they will put like negative or positive or whatever. They'll put words that are more biased towards the situation. And then when they do the research, they will click on the drama channels and all those sort of platforms that push more towards the negative aspect of the situation, rather than a more neutral aspect. It's not like people will go and look for the general tweets of James Charles and do their own research based on just looking at his tweets and, for example, seeing how much good he did in his life and stuff like that, they'll just go to those negative tweets and just zero in on those and only weigh those negative tweets that he tweeted. Not that I'm saying you shouldn't hold someone responsible for that, but I'm just saying this is very biased to just look at the negative aspects of a situation. So, in other words, everyone just wants the tea. Now, there is a third theory. Again, like I mentioned, I'm not going to talk about it here, but if you guys want to learn more about it, you can visit my website. I write articles about these sort of things, and my articles are a lot more detailed and a lot more put together than my YouTube videos are, just because I'm still new to YouTube and I really enjoy writing. So, the whole idea behind cancel culture is an individual being accused and they lose their social standing and are stripped from their power. Now, is it really effective? I'm not sure. People like Tana Mogeau, James Charles, and Jefree Star have had controversy after controversy behind their name, and they always seem to come back and bounce back better than ever. However, people like Harvey Weinstein are literally sentenced. Is it really effective? I'm not sure. I think it depends on the situation, and it depends on the individual and who's really accusing him of these things. Cancel culture is definitely a very interesting topic, and I had a lot of fun dissecting the psychology behind it. I really hope you guys enjoyed, and again, if you think that this video is not going deep enough for you, you can read my article. It's a lot of fun, it's very detailed, it's really nice, and I have a bunch of sources in my article talking about cancel culture, its effects, and all that good stuff. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Take care.